Hello and welcome to Square Raindrop. I'm Jo Wheeler.
And I'm Steph Bolter.
Steffi,
Yes.
in weather terms, these are miserable times.
Well, pretty mild though at the moment. Like the last week has been like, we're at the beginning of February, the end of January. I couldn't remember what month came before February then for a moment, but it is January, I can confirm. And it's been, 12, 13 degrees? In fact, what was Sunday? 19.9!
No, okay, 19.9, I accept that as mild. Yeah, I'm sorry. The 12, 13s, technically they're mild, but actually they're not, because I'm in the house, no heating on, I am still freezing, yeah, and you've got a nasty cold.
I do have a really bad cold, but then I have children, and I think it comes with the territory.
I have children, but they're not here, so it doesn't come with the territory as far as I'm concerned.
Well, only another 10 years for me to wait until that happens.
We're in this situation at the moment where it's mild and it's breezy and it's a bit of a non-entity. We had a few sunny spells this morning, but those have gone, and I'm looking forward to cloud for the next couple of days. It's like, is anything going to change before the sun comes out for the spring? And the answer is,
it does look like it might, Jo, because at this time of year, you really only have two types of weather. You have one, grey, a bit miserable, but mild, or you have clearer skies and cold weather. And I think we're looking at a bit of a change. So obviously starting in the north first, because that's where the cold air has to come from, and then heading south. But it's slow. It's not going to happen like overnight.
and you don't like these long-term forecasts. We're looking at probably this time next week or a little shorter than that. But are we going to get any of the...
Well, there are some of the less reputable, shall we say, newspapers that are already saying there will be 3 centimetres of snow per hour in all except 3 parts of the country.
All except 3 parts of the country?
That's what it said. It
Which
must be true.
3 parts?
Well, you see, Jo, things like that just annoy me. So I couldn't bring myself to click on it because I don't want to increase their readership because they will continue to print rubbish online. So I couldn't look. But I was thinking, well, it could be Jersey, Guernsey and the Isles of Scilly. It could be England, Wales and Northern Ireland. It could be anything. What a ridiculous headline.
Yeah, that is a bit silly, particularly if it's so global as England, Wales and Ireland, because that is kind of limiting, to be perfectly fair. I mean, it doesn't leave a lot left, does it?
It could be anything. Who knows? It could be talking about, it was Birmingham Live. So maybe it was talking about like the Bull Centre or the park up the road, or I don't know. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Everywhere will have 3 centimetres of snow per hour, apart from Solihull. Now I'm pushing it, just trying to think of other places in Birmingham, and I used to live there. Oh well, never mind. I tell you what, the weather's so unexciting. Just have you had anything interesting going on this week?
For me personally, not so exciting, but for my little 9-year-old, he said it was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to him.
What can this be? Was it a party? Was it an adventure?
No, we got 6 of the world's smallest fish. So we got a fish tank for his birthday. He's been asking about setting it up. I've been putting him off. And then finally, we got the stones, we got the plants, we got the water in there, waited a week, and then it was fish day. So we went off to the little aquarium, not so far up the road, and he picked 6 fish, and we were like, Milo, they will die. These are your first ever fish. They won't last till morning. And they're still here, Jo. It's a miracle.
Hang on a second. Yeah, these aren't goldfish. Have they got the burbly thing at the top that
burbly thing?
does water?
They have the thermometer to check that the burbly thing is giving the right thing, and they have and we did the water test and it all came out wrong. And I was like, Milo, it's not going to work. And these little fish are the happiest little things you've ever seen in your life. He says good night to them each by name as he turns the light off at night time. It's the cutest thing.
Actually, the problem is with tropical fish is when you switch the light off, they don't go off. They still shine.
They can do. He said, what would you do, Mummy, if the eyes were so bright that they kept me awake at night? Because you couldn't really move the tank, could you? I said, no, I'd put a cardboard box in front of it, Milo.
Something I can see you don't have the same empathy for fish that your son does. I must admit, my eldest daughter also has always had a passion for fish, which is really strange because,
Eating it
well, it didn't come
or
from me.
looking at them?
Oh, no, 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 absolutely looking at them. So, I mean, she asked for her 21st for this all singing, all dancing fish tank, which has now been replaced with something even better. And yeah, she still has quite a lot of fish. And as long as the water's right, they actually do live quite a long time. They're not like goldfish.
Goldfish last 20 something years. They can last a while. Guppies, I had a guppy not for very long because they're only supposed to last 18 months. But the ones he's got, goodness knows. I mean, I'm just amazed they've lasted nearly a week. I think I was
Do you remember
expecting a fish massacre by this time, but no, we're doing well.
do you remember back in the day you used to win a goldfish at the fair?
I explained that to Milo and he was horrified. But what if you didn't want to go? What would happen to it? Well, you used to kind of chuck it away. What do you mean? Well, I didn't, Milo. Obviously, that would be a terrible thing to do. But, if you won a goldfish and you didn't want it, what do you think's going to happen? He was not pleased with that. He's very glad that now we've come to our senses and we don't do that kind of thing anymore.
Fantastic. That's good news because ultimately those goldfish in a bag were a complete nightmare when you went on the roller coaster or the Wurlitzer of things, because they didn't last very long at that point. Centrifuge fish.
Oh, bless them. Poor little things. My friend had a goldfish that she won at a fair and she had it for a good 10 years. I mean, she probably had it longer. I don't know. I just remember going around her house and her saying, and I was saying, wow, you got a little goldfish. That's really cute. She said, I won it at the fair. It's still going. They hadn't really wanted it. They won it, put it in a tank, it's still there.
I wonder if there are any goldfish still living from the last fair that ever did that. Well, I have to say that, whilst you've had the glories of keeping fish, I have had a techie nightmare this week. Do you know, you go through months and everything works in the house.
No,
yeah, and
never,
then everything
never that happens, Jo. Never.
and then everything starts breaking. So at the moment, I've got a kettle which insists upon boiling belligerently. Now, you may say, right, that a kettle cannot boil belligerently, but I have to disagree with you. This thing, yeah, it starts to boil and it persists. When the water reaches boiling point, it carries on, just melting everything, in the close environs. I've also got a dryer that just keeps tripping everything because it seems to want to. I've been through more 13-amp fuses and I'm this far away from just saying, right, need a new dryer. But then, of course, that for me is a fun thing. So I have to go and research it for about 6 months and I wasn't prepared. So I can't do it. And today, I'm without my car. It's gone for a service and I can't go anywhere and the weather's miserable. And honestly, you and we've been so busy just recently with all these storms. And the last one let us down by going away to the north, heading off towards Norway. So Scotland had some windy weather, but for much of the country, it was kind of like meh. And now we're into these quiet days. And what happens to weather people when the weather goes quiet? It's like, get back in your cupboard.
They break everything. That's what happens. What you need, Jo, is Witch magazine. That's how I chose my latest kettle. I got it for Christmas. And I needed quick boiling and not too loud because the last one pierced eardrums for miles around and took about 3 years to boil. So we're on to a winner with that. As for the washer dryer, I got that from Witch magazine as well. That wasn't such a good buy. The first one died within a month. The second one died within 6 months, but they send people out if it dies quickly. And then this one has just packed in. So it's 3 years old. And so I can't be bothered. It's only the dryer that doesn't work. So I've gone, do you know what? I've got myself one of those heated airers now. And I'm like, you cannot work, but you will still wash my clothes.
Now, you see, the only problem with Witch magazine is that is a subjective point of view. Now, you see, one of my 12 Hoovers, and I do have 12 vacuum cleaners, right?
Okay.
Was
you're just going to have to say that again in my good ear, Jo, because this one heard that you had 12 vacuum cleaners.
I have got 12 vacuum cleaners. Well, because I love vacuum cleaners, but I have the dirtiest floor. I really do. I mean, I love reading reviews about vacuum cleaners and then choosing them on merit. Yeah. Now, I could diss one really quite badly and it's a popular one. So I'm not going to say a word because I wouldn't want to do that. Yeah, but I do have my favorites. And my favorite one I have two different models.
How did we get onto this? Help us.
Because you said which magazine knew better than I did, and I'm sorry, but it doesn't. Yeah.
Okay, so which are the 2 vacuum cleaners that you think are the best?
They're the Vax pet ones, and they are amazing.
Of course, you've got a lot of hair. Not you personally, your family, your household. Lots of hair.
Got a bit, enough. But
Yeah.
it's the anti-hair wrap that I don't actually rate very high. But anyway, that's beside the point. So basically, of these vacuum cleaners, some of them actually only got 1 star because they said that that hoovering the floor is like going to the gym because it literally sucks the carpet off the floor. And I'm thinking, no, that's exactly what I want. So I went out and got
right,
this.
me too.
Yeah, exactly. And this thing, you're hauling it like this. It's honestly, it's like a rowing machine to try and hoover the floor because it's got so much suction. And that's exactly what you want.
It saves you a gym membership as well. It's excellent.
So this is what weather people do when there's not much weather around. They read reviews on things. So I've known for a while that this dryer is failing, and I was looking and saving up for one of the heat pump ones. Yeah, and then actually, well, yeah, you say they're the best thing. They actually take twice as long as anything else. They may save a lot of energy. I mean, they're A+ rated, but they take about 3 hours to dry anything. And it's like, no, the only reason I have a dryer is because I want it dry quickly. If I didn't want it dry quickly, I'd have one of your heated airers, or stick it on the line and wait for 3 days for it to stop raining.
Or wait till spring for it to stop raining and get vaguely warm.
Yes, the items of laundry that have been on the line since last year. They're celebrating their first birthday up there. You're taking a cake out to your jeans.
They might need another wash after the birds have perched on them.
Exactly. There are ways of getting around this. It's called a dryer. It doesn't need to be large. It doesn't have to be fantastic, but it does need to work. Yeah, that's all I'm asking. It's not much. But if I'm going to invest, let's get the right one. So I'm sorry, I'm getting very excited now because when I talk about appliances, I do. Yeah. Sorry, alongside the 12 vacuum cleaners, I've also got 3 carpet shampooers and something which hoovers and washes in the kitchen on the hard floor.
Okay, that's lovely.
That's what my children left home.
Yes. I think we'll talk about weather. It seems somewhat safer.
Go back to the weather. It's useless for drying things at the moment. The air mass is wrong. It's patchy rain and drizzle. It is quite breezy though, so if you can stay dry for long enough, maybe you'll get something dry.
But probably by the end of next week, not so much.
No, absolutely not. Although, I think we can agree on the cold weather, if not the
snow.
And if you've got anything nice and cotton, you put that out on the line overnight and it freezes, makes it lovely and soft.
Yeah. I did hear that if you put your hair outside and it's wet, you can just snap it. Have you ever tried that?
Oddly enough, I haven't. I mean, I do have some spare time at the moment.
Not enough to stand outside and wait for your hair to freeze. Or put your head in the freezer and wait for it. Yeah, let's call that plan B.
Exactly. So I think as a sum up on a square raindrop day where there's not a lot going on because it just stays mild over the weekend and mild into next week with some patchy rain around, particularly if you're in the west, and it's quite breezy at times as well. So when, Steffi, when does the cold air come?
The exact time when the cold weather, if you ever read a headline like that, just click away from it, go somewhere else. It will be rubbish. The time then that will happen is late in the week. Yes, and in Scotland, moving down.
So this particular week, if you'd like to contact us, first of all, we want to know where the 3 places are that won't have snow. Yeah, if you can find it online, the 3 places that Birmingham Live says will not have snow, because we're fascinated and we'll do a review.
I'm not clicking on it. I refuse.
And secondly, you're having great success with your personalised forecast at the moment, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Marion had a lovely swim on her birthday, so that was great. So if you'd like to be our next victim, did I say that out loud? If you'd like to be our next person who gets a personalised forecast, let us know.
Absolutely. And of course, you can follow Square Raindrop on Twitter, formerly known as X. She appears on Facebook as well. Honestly, there's no getting away from it. Every time I switch my phone on, it's Steffi, Square Raindrop. Or us.
I am.
Yes. Constantly there. But you can contact us at
Raindrop, because Square Raindrop didn't fit. That's where we are on Twitter. And if you'd like to email us, we're weather@squareraindrop.com.
Lovely to see you today and hope to see you next week. In the meantime, do contact us. We'd love to know your 3 places where it won't snow, and have a lovely, lovely time.
Bye.